Finchy. Well done last night, Minnesota Timberwolves. And you are welcome to howl and give covenant claps with 9 to noon. One of the core four went on the road in game 1 and got the money. And, well, hey there. Indeed, it is a lovely day and morning for some celebratory 9 to noon. And it was a lovely night last night down Alamo way. Get the talkbacks ready, all right, for segments 2 and 3. This is segment 1, segments 2 and 3, and they probably will include, but will not in any way be limited to Wemby's amazing block shots and missed goaltending calls and or fouls. I'm putting the over-under on the talkbacks involving that at about 62.5. We'll probably play 5. Talkbacks can include, but don't have to be limited to, the inspiration Anthony Edwards provided by absolutely being limited by those bulky knees, yet giving Finchy and the gang 25 bench minutes that included 18 points on 8 of 13 and smart shooting and passing and defensive awareness and always recognizing others were in the game. Hey! Superstar. You don't have to be a star to be in our show. The talkbacks may include, but undoubtedly will not be limited to, deciphering what Victor Wembanyama tried to say after the game. You see, Wemby, holy cow. Well, Wemby's good, and Wemby has best player in the world qualifications to him.
Yeah.
But he's a kid at a time. I was talking in circles after the game, clearly frustrated. His squad lost as big favorites at home before multicolored shirts representing Fiesta San Antonio. And if those Spurs play like that, play with that ragtag offense and leave some three-point shooters open, Fiesta San Antonio could be adios San Antonio Spurs. But back to Wemby after the game, he said, quote, "I feel like I had to use my energy. Obviously, I used a lot of it on one side of the court. On the other side, offensively, I used too much energy on things that didn't really help our team. So that's on me. There was some good and there was some bad. It's a lot on me because my game wasn't feeling good tonight to where the team is going to look for me. If I had been, here's the key, if I had been better, if the offensive leaders on our team would have been better, it would have been different. So basically, if everything was different, it would have been different."
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
With respect, if it had been better, if the offensive leaders on our team would have been better, it would have been different. So basically, if everything was different, it would have been different.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
With respect, if everything was different, it would have been different. Get at a time. He said, quote, "If I had been better, if the offensive leaders on our team had been better, things would have been different." Wonder what that means. De'Aaron Fox was awful at times, and he's a leader of the team, and he was awful at times. Maybe that's the leader about whom he's speaking. De'Aaron Fox perpetually lost on defense, couldn't get off picks, and had as many turnovers as he did assists. By the way, the talkbacks are provided by Northern Fire. We have a prize to be given away today, and here's Mad Producer after that Mad Producer montage.
Heck yeah, Talker Tuesday brought to you by ardent Wolves fans over there at Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. I know they're howling in Minnetonka, and they're howling for talkbacks today because one of you, your talkback's going to win you a $25 gift card to Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply, whether you use it online or use it in the store. It's Northern Fire. It's a Talker Tuesday, so get those talkbacks rolling.
Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, offered up an elongated talkback after the 104-102 Game 1 win last night. Here's some of Chris's post-game press conference describing as big underdogs how the Howl went down by the Alamo and fired on all bullets.
9. Yeah, we were up 9. They were up 7. But it felt a lot tighter than that, even when we were up. So really good job by our guys, just figuring out a way to make enough shots and sticking with the defense. And so.
Just what did Anthony give you at the start of that fourth quarter?
It was huge. I mean, it was by that time found a little bit of a rhythm. I thought Julius was really good, just subtly good with everything he was doing off ball, and obviously when he had the ball in his hands. But Ant was awesome. He was really good. I mean, forgot how good he was actually. So.
Chris, TJ in that third quarter there gave you a big lift. What was maybe the I don't know if there were any adjustments with him in the second half, or what kind of lift did he give you?
I think he just found his second wind more than anything. I think he just kind of got downhill, does what he does best. We used him at the top of the floor, and they were pressuring him, and he got by him, and I think our guys went into the paint all night long, and we eventually were able to loosen him up a little bit by doing so.
And that final sequence, nobody called timeout. You didn't call a timeout.
Yeah, that's on me. That's actually my fault. I should have called timeout there. 34 seconds left, side out of bounds. I thought we could execute, but we didn't. And I should have called timeout to get us into a good play. I should have called timeout when I saw we were struggling to get it in. But fortunately, we were lucky enough to hang on.
Jaden and Rudy kind of keyed your defense throughout that Denver series, and in the first quarter, they both really seemed like they reasserted themselves in the exact same way, just kept the momentum going.
Yep.
Especially, I mean, Rudy on Wemby was pretty. Was the game plan any different than it has been in the past?
No, I mean the game plan. No, not really. It's just a little more clued into what they're trying to do, and the way you gotta defend him. I mean, it's really hard to defend, and we did a really good job of getting out and contesting, and making everything difficult. So
coming into this series with their big guards and Fox being so quick, it looked like maybe there wasn't a great role for Mike, and he played really well the entire game.
I mean, there's always a role for Mike Conley. I mean, the guy's an amazing basketball player, is an unbelievable winner. He competes no matter what the matchup is out there, so there's always a role for Mike Conley.
Chris, do you feel like, obviously Wembanyama had all those blocks, but do you feel like your group got more comfortable with figuring out how to sort of navigate getting to the basket over the course of the game? Is that how that works?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit better spacing, a little bit better off-ball movement. He had a lot of block. He had a couple uncalled goaltendings too, so those are valuable points we'd like to have back. But I mean, I thought there was smarter offense to be had in the second half, and I think we did a better job of finding that. So.
What was your messaging to Anthony just in this, with it being a minutes restriction, or was there any sort of change of approach?
I mean, the only we talked yesterday that if he was able to go, he was going to come off the bench, and if that was fine with him, which it absolutely was. We communicated exactly how we were going to use him, and he was all in, and he did a really good job of not pushing and forcing things, even though he knew he was on a minutes restrictions. I thought he did a really good job of just staying in the flow. So.
So many guys have stepped up in the next man up mentality. But to come into San Antonio on the road in this environment and to win, what does that do emotionally for the team? And obviously seeing Ant kind of just come back a little bit. Yeah,
I mean, huge lift all the way around, huge lift. Guys they were locked in on the game plan. They were ready to go. Coming off an emotional series like we just had in years past, I think we would have come into this series a little more giddy, maybe a little more relaxed. We weren't. We were able to level set and have the right approach coming into tonight, and recognize that it's a whole nother series, whole nother reality. So
once again, that big front court lineup you had worked again. How do you like to deploy that? And is it strategic, or is it pretty much now part of the whole system?
I mean, it's no more strategic than what I said after the Denver game, just getting our best 5 out there at times and finding minutes for those guys. And, I think Nas has done a really good job of stepping up his defense to make that work.
Finchy, in case you missed it, after the 104-102 victory last night. Wow, that he said a couple of, we'll talk about Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell every so often, and we'll say if you listen closely enough to Kevin, he will. If you're looking to get a chef salad, he'll drop you some croutons to start the mix. Then you got to put the rest of the salad together. Finchy does the same thing, and he did it last night in that press conference. Now, the one thing I really liked about what he said was they didn't, very late in the equation, with an inbound pass, Chris opted to not take a timeout, and it was hot and frenzied, and my guy in the pink shirt, then the lady in the blue shirt, and then the guy over there in the gold shirt, and the guy in the green shirt. I mean, they were all just going crazy. It was a pressure-filled, hot situation, and Chris didn't take a timeout. And Chris's inbounds plays, for those in the know, are some of the best in the NBA. Very, very well-respected staff, A. But B, they're super well-respected for how they craft inbound plays, sideline plays, under the basket inbound plays. And he didn't call a timeout. And then after that, Julius clanked one, had to shoot it, but not the greatest shot. And then 9 to noon's not exactly part of the luck covenant, but there was good fortune that came the way of the Wolves because Nas tried to blow that thing with the defense at the end. You never leave your feet, man. Watch Jaden McDaniels. When Champagnie shot what could have been a game-winning 3, ole, there goes Nas Reed flying into the Spurs bench. Got to keep your feet, man, and make that 3-point shot difficult. But Champagnie missed it. But Chris, when talking about not taking a timeout late to calm things, he had contrition. He had vulnerability. He conceded he made a mistake. Not calling a timeout before we turned it over with that inbounds pass, paving the way for San Antonio to possibly win. He's not of the stubborn variety when it comes to things like that, and that's greatly appreciated. Another wonderful crouton that's laid out for this chef salad of victory, quote, smarter offense in the second half, end quote. What's that mean? It absolutely means more drives, but kicks to better shots. So they were driving in the first half, just dead set on offering their will and forcing their will on Victor Wembanyama and trying to dunk on him and get layups around him. And it was foolhardy. So in the second half, because they can beat these Spurs off the dribble, the Timberwolves have a lot of players who can beat a lot of players off the dribble. They would beat them off the dribble. Wemby would come down to do Wemby stuff. But what about the others? Let's test their scholar of the game approach, or perhaps it's lack thereof. Wemby, Castle, Vassell, Harper, all super athletic. Maybe the scholar of the game part of the equation needs a little work. And they're capable because I've seen it before, and we'll see it in game 2. As we said yesterday, when you're looking for advantages in series, it can't be disputed. Finch, Mike Nori, Pablo Prigioni, and that staff know what to do when situations like yesterday emerge. Now, Chris made a mistake late, as he said, by not calling a timeout. So you get around that. And they found a way to suck the Spurs into a couple of bad bits. Overcommitting to drivers, leaving guys open for makeable shots and taking the cheese in the second half. That was super, super key. Hear us when we tell you this. Timberwolves drive, Spurs overcommit. Instead of forcing your will on what you want to do, kick it to teammates. I saw Nordo's tweet last night, Mad Producer 1, follow him if so inclined. Mike Conley with 4 threes. Massive.
Huge.
Because it played into what we're talking about now. And when it comes to taking the cheese, this scholarly approach or lack thereof by these kids for the San Antonio Spurs, like Joker last series, if Victor Wembanyama wants to shoot threes, He can go ahead and do it all series if he desires. I mean, he's a good three-point shooter for his size, but he's markedly better around the basket on both ends.
Yeah, we want him hitting. I mean, I think he's a career under 35%.
Ooh.
So
my man went 0 for 8 last night from 3. He just wouldn't stop shooting.
So if you got to choose that versus his ability with the 8-foot wingspan, he dunks far hand.
Yeah.
Not even Rudy can touch that thing. So
unbelievable.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, let him shoot threes, I suppose.
Yep, and De'Aaron Fox, too. And I've watched him all of his career. Fantastic Kentucky Wildcat. De'Aaron Fox is fast, and he makes plays. But De'Aaron Fox never, ever, ever has been known as a lethal three-point shooter. Let him shoot. Yeah, kitty.
And he had to work for everything last night, too.
Yeah, Foxy. 0 for 4 from 3. Now, De'Aaron is a high-end NBA player, so he can hit threes. But he's not known. That's not his game. It's getting to the basket and getting to the line.
Yeah.
Finchy. Wemby, want to shoot threes? Go ahead. 0 for 8. De'Aaron, want to shoot threes? Go ahead. 0 for 4. And we even did them a solid by ridiculously missing 9 of 21 free throws. I mean, it was a functioning clankathon in the middle of that game. And finally, Terrence Shannon Jr. officially has made the chat. Finchy gave him the start, and like in the Denver series, he caught them off guard with his speed, and the Spurs are fast. The Nuggets ain't fast. The Spurs are fast. And Terrence Shannon Jr. used both hands with the penetration quite well, so they couldn't lay on his left.
Right.
And that was of most importance. Chris also dropped us a nugget in that truncated press conference when he said, you know, we started Terrence at the top. That's so smart because the kids, Terrence Shannon Jr., the younger and experienced players, when they're trying to do stuff by the baseline or in more congested areas, they kick it off their knees. They freak out. It's too congested. So spread it out, start him at the top, and let him utilize that speed merchant skill. We saw it nearing the end of the Denver game, the elimination game. Saw it a lot last night.
It was interesting. I'm really glad that Dane, during Finchy's press conference, asked him, like, hey, was this just throughout the game having to learn how to get to the hoop? Because you're mentioning Terrence Shannon Jr.
His speed's unbelievable.
His speed's unbelievable, but you can't beat Wemby. Wemby's just standing. He's 5 feet away, and he'll catch up to you.
Yeah.
So you could see it over the course of the game. Now, there was a moment where Randall got stubborn about it, and I think that was 2 blocks right there for Wemby. But we want Randall being a bully, so don't lose that aggression.
Victor Wembanyama blocked somebody's shot with 2 hands. Like he tipped it with his left and swatted it with his right.
Yeah, he actually...
And yes, in the FIGA, Fairness and Goaltending Act, 9 to Noon knows there were some missed goaltending calls.
There were several, actually.
So what did he finish with, 15 blocks?
12 blocks.
Okay.
12 blocks.
Okay, sure. Let's say 4 goaltending calls were missed.
More blocks than points.
That's still a freaking 8.
Yes, it is.
Which means his last 3 games, let's eliminate 4 of them and appease everybody.
Is that 21 last 3?
21 last 3. And 12 go in the book, so they count because they were missed by the stripes. But nevertheless, take away 4, it's still 8. But anyway.
Well, it's cool to watch. He was kind of my favorite player, at least just in terms of viewing.
Who, Terrence?
Terrence last night at times, because he was kind of trying to, you could see him trying to solve it throughout the game. And when he gets that motor going,
I like that.
He had this cool inside left-hand finish. I forget who was coming over to just demolish that thing. It wasn't Wemby, but he's really, I mean, this kid gets buckets. So he can, and he did get it bounced off his knee. I mean, Ant comes in and everyone's pumped about that. First 2 things that happened is Terrence Shannon Jr. forgets the shot clock. And then on the next possession, he gets it swatted off his knee for a backcourt violation. So kids are still learning and growing.
Right.
But by the end of that game, it got to a point where Shannon's just looking around the court like, who wants a foul? Draw one on Harper. Who wants a foul? Draws one on Castle.
Yeah.
He comes in at Wemby, makes that elite pass to, I think, the 3rd or 4th triple for Conley. Terrence Shannon Jr., one of my favorite players last night to watch.
That last night was a game for the cerebral basketball fan. It was a game for all sports snobs. Hopefully State of Hockey appreciated it. One of us won a game on the road, which is difficult. Game 2 is going to be tougher. There in no way means that the Timberwolves have won the series by winning this game, but as 9-10-point underdogs with one of the very best overall players in the NBA battling two balky, bad knees. Yeah, that was sweet last night.
Yeah.
But with Terrence Shannon Jr., the rolling ball of Butcher Knives bit is fantastic. The defense is improving. The court awareness is improving. The trippability in hot situations is becoming lack thereof. He's not freaking out the way he's freaked out before. Here's the A topic. While he learns his craft on the fly. Through the last two games, when Terrence Shannon Jr. was desperately needed because of injuries, Terrence Shannon Jr. played 70 minutes with 0 turnovers. He had 0 turnovers last night. That knee bit that you're mentioning, I know what you're talking about, but it wasn't called a turnover.
Well, it was swatted off of him by a defender.
That's what it was. So, yep. 70 minutes with 0 turnovers. He's a kid at a time. That is so very important. That's massive because the newbies can go to tripping, but he's following the plan. Emphasis on the last 3 words. Following the plan. In closing, remember all season when we kept hearing our best of the best, ever to best say, quote, we didn't follow the plan, end quote. Finchie's plan is good and we didn't follow it, end quote. They followed the plan, especially in the second half. They followed it to a T last night. They kept pounding on Wemby with their bigs and gave the Spurs an eye-opener they won't soon forget. Talkbacks around the corner, free iHeartRadio app, Northern Fire prize to be given away. And we're going to do that over the next couple of segments. Our Minnesota Wild are back in action tonight around 7 o'clock on KFAN. We need this one. That, too, is part of the Timber Check What's on Deck set list. The great KG joins to start the final hour. And the Vox of all Voxes, ever to Vox from Ball Arena. Rochi precedes him at 10:35. Nordo produces. I'm Paul Allen. It's 9:26 this beautiful Tuesday. Welcome to FM 100.3 KFAN's 9 to noon presentation. Like the other members of the Core 4, we got some money to give away, and here it is.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. This hour's keyword is grand. You could win money by using the keyword grand and entering it in at KFAN.com.
Your talkbacks, courtesy of Northern Fire on a Talkback Timberwolves Talker Tuesday. We segue to football 30 minutes from now with Ben Gessling. 1 hour from now, we get to hockey with Rochi, Sladen, Minnesota's finest, now living adjacent to Red Rocks, and the voice of Ball Arena. Rochi's feeling pretty good about himself and his squad right now.
Yeah.
Some trash talking about an hour from now. We'll have fun with it. We love Rochi, and he loves us. Kevin Gorg. FanDuel Sports North, KG, side rink analyst for 20 years, 2 decades, working, covering the Minnesota Wild and being with the Wild and everything. KG, in your spot, he's going to stop by the studio at 11 o'clock, and we can maybe start to figure out the who, what, where, when, and why of what can happen tonight at Ball Arena against the Colorado Avalanche in a game that will not have 15 goals. But how many will it have? Is it going to be of the overwhelming variety like Game 1? Or will things tighten up as we batten down the hatches in Game 2 against the Colorado Avalanche?
Check your watch and tell me what time it is.
9:33. Good morning.
Now peek your head out and tell me what the climate is.
Blue skies for today. Feels like it's around 40 and change. It's 9 to noon. Quickly, Parker Fox, Elite Basketball Mind. Elite Basketball Mind at Parker Fox 24 via the X machine. If you are so inclined, please follow as 9 to noon does. Parker is salt of the earth. He said something yesterday in passing that I didn't really think about when he said it, because I didn't know, as the kids would say, it was a thing. When he's like, Keldon Johnson, comma, 6th man of the year, comma, then he formulates the opinion. I'm like, Keldon Johnson, 6th man of the year.
Hang on a second.
I mean, I've watched Keldon all of his career and a fair amount this year. I mean, Keldon can be good. You know, Keldon, I mean, Keldon Johnson, he has some bully to him like Julius Randle. Quite honestly, he's not in Julius Randle's class when it comes to offensive potency. And when Julius decides he wants to rebound, he can rebound every bit as well as Keldon Johnson, who never will be as good a passer as Julius. But now Julius is a starter, so, he's not a six man of the year candidate. But we draw the comparison because they both are forwards who are power forwards. And they play the bully, they offer up the bully ball side of the equation. But when Peacock said this yesterday, then I heard it on that bad Peacock thing last night. Holy cow. I mean, did your graphic machine break? Like, did people get locked outside of the arena for the halftime show? What in the heck are we doing here? We digress 3-2. Keldon Johnson, six man of the year. I mean, with respect, is this like the worst six man of the year race in the history of the NBA?
You can't talk that way and take it seriously.
I just did, and here's why. Keldon Johnson, who are those names again you just told me with whom he's in a battle?
Jaime I think it's Jacquez.
Yes, Jaime Jacquez for Miami, who was a bench guy who had to play more minutes than usual this year. Why? Because Tyler Hero was hurt every second of the day.
LFL waiver wire fodder.
Okay.
And then Tim Hardaway Jr.
You can't talk that way and take it seriously.
I mean, voters, everybody, casual basketball fans, enough with this Tim Hardaway Jr. garbage. Enough with it, please.
Do you think David Adelman, who, sadly for Nuggets fans, his team's at home watching this, do you think Adelman's on the couch watching last night's game and he's like, ooh, Anthony Edwards, that guy spaces out the court almost as good as Tim does.
Yeah, and then, and why wouldn't he think that or say that? And then he saw Jaden McDaniels and had some PTSD, and David Adelman was like,
yeah, I might punch him in the face.
Well, I would too, because he completely ruined your team. Tim Hardaway Jr., the three, okay, and Keldon Johnson. All right, so here's the deal. Here's why we can talk like that. Is because when it comes to six man of the year, let's put it this way. With Keldon Johnson, if he wins it, Michael Cooper, Kevin McHale, Naz Reid last year, Lou Williams, they're not blushing.
I always love that one.
Those were sixth men of the year who were multifaceted players. So go ahead, Keldon. Win it. That's great, man. Put it on your mantle above your wood-burning fireplace. But what a bad six-man of the year race with those names. Holy cow. All right, talkbacks, Northern Fire, love you. And got a prize to be given away somewhere during the course of the radio show. And the talkbacks go a little bit like this.
Good morning, PA Nordo. Thomas from Chanhassen here. What a Wolves win. I do not understand where this underdog narrative about these Wolves came from. Io out, sure. Ant banged up, sure. Dante out, we get it. 60 wins that. Wemby's the greatest human being of all time, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But holy crap, we got some dogs, and that is something you cannot measure on the stat sheet. Every single one. Shout out Mike Conley. Shout out Chris frickin' Finch. He is coaching his behind off right now. Let's go, Wolves.
Well, the underdog status in the Nuggets series, as we shared, was Denver should have been favored. Denver with the home court advantage, and Joker guy with Jamal Murray having the best series of his career, season of his career. But it was too high. I think it was like minus 280, minus 290, like up by 3-1. And as 9 to Noon shared, it's there's no, we're not taking offense to Denver being favored, but it's way out of whack. And that was before Dante messed up his Achilles and Anthony hurt his other knee. So, yeah, I understand that there. But the San Antonio Spurs found a way to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think 3 of 5 times, 4 of 5 times, something like that. So, no, the San Antonio Spurs, the defense that we faced last night, except for key times in the final 5 minutes of the game, because Finchy did a little number on that staff in the final 5 minutes of the game. The San Antonio Spurs, their speed and their defense blow the Nuggets out of the water. And Wembanyama he's the best player in the world. He's passing Joker right before our very ears and eyes. I'm not offended by the Spurs being favored. And them being favored last night, it's a road game. The Timberwolves are coming off an emotional series, as Finchie said, and it took a lot to win, and they're super banged up, and Dante DiVincenzo's their best perimeter defensive player, and he's not playing. And Ant's on a minutes restriction. I'm not offended by them being favored, but there are just some things that have been overlooked into this series, and we mentioned them earlier. If Wemby and De'Aaron Fox want to shoot threes, let them shoot threes. It's like what we said last series about Joker, but also Bruce Brown. If Bruce Brown wants to shoot, Bruce Brown can shoot from anywhere in the court he wants. Just go ahead and let him because he's going to miss 80% of them. De'Aaron Fox is a wizard with the basketball, even at this stage of his career, and he wants to get to the basket, then get to the line. He's never been known as a lethal three-point shooter. He chucked up 4 last night. None of them had a chance. And Wemby, 0 for 8 from 3, that ain't going to happen game 2. I mean, he probably will cut those 3-point attempts in half. But secondly, and this is not to make Finch, Mike Nori, Pablo Prigioni, Elston Turner, and everybody else on that smart, learned Timberwolves staff sound like you got Vince Lombardi over there, you got Bill Belichick there, you got John Wooden here, and Casey Jones and Dick Motta over there. It's not and like pop switch benches. No, it's just they've been together a long time. They're very good at solving problems when the pressure is high. And we saw that last night. They went to problem solving in the second half, and it was quite simple. When Chris said in his post-game press conference, we made smarter offensive decisions in the second half, it's quite simplistic. We can beat you off the dribble. When we get to the basket, we're not going to try to force our will on maybe the best shot blocker in the history of the NBA. Instead, we're going to see if the second guy, the guy around Wemby, well, how smart is he? Is he going to go to the open guy, or is he going to freak out and then come and try to block a shot or get a rebound? So they penetrated and kicked to guys for better shots. And it made a big, big difference in the game.
Yeah, I'm not offended by the idea that, so I found this article because there was this significant shift, right? So I think the Spurs were almost like minus 3,000 or something early on when it opened up at the series. But just
that's because it looked like Anthony wouldn't play the whole series.
Correct, yeah. But so Sunday, we wake up Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
The Wolves are plus 950. So you're getting 9.5 to 1.
Yeah.
Pre-game on Monday, Ant sounds like he's going to try and give it a go.
Yeah.
It cut in half. It was plus 4.5 to 1.
Wow.
After last night, plus 150.
Wow.
Plus 150.
T-Wolves are plus 150 to win the series?
Plus 150.
That's respect right there.
From 9.5 to 1 to 1.5, just from, hey, kid's probably going to play, and then you get over the finish line the way you did last night.
I mean, if the court expands to historic fashion, like we just saw with Tim Hardaway Jr., copyright David Adelman, and given Keldon Johnson, since he's going to win Sixth Man of the Year, I mean, he has to have some Michael Cooper or Kevin McHale to him, right? Well, he just has to. I mean, that's the Sixth Man of the Year. That's what they do. So we'll see. I mean, it's the series is not over. You need to get one of them down there. The fan has learned. I mean, you can get 2. You don't. It's not a crime to get 2. So let's not let this be one of those, man, dog. We got one. We stole one on the road. Let's come back home and get 2 and open up 3-1. I wouldn't do that against these guys because they're gifted, they're talented, they're athletic, and they made mistakes last night that inexperienced kids make in playoff pressure-filled situations. They're super gifted. Stephon Castle had Edwards in a freaking straitjacket for about 5 straight minutes. He's so talented. If they're going to put Vassell on Jaden McDaniels, go ahead and do that. You better find a double because Jaden ate him up last night when it mattered. And why? And so what's smarter basketball in the second half? Letting the shot clock get down to 15, 14, 13, clearing guys to one side of the court so McDaniels can cook against Vassell because he's taller and he's good with the mid-range. McDaniels, 7 of 14, 16 points, and he did that with foul trouble all game. He took the second most shots of anybody for the Timberwolves. That's a good thing. I was moderately concerned into the game last night with Anthony returning and playing half the game that with Anthony and Julius, that Jaden's productivity offensively would come way back, and it didn't. That's following the plan. During the season when they're like, man, we're better than those guys, we didn't follow Finchie's plan. We didn't follow the plan, didn't follow the plan, didn't follow the plan. When you follow the plan, Jaden's part of the equation. Jaden's freaking good. We're all having face changes with Jaden McDaniels. But because of things we've seen the last few years, he's composed. He carried you to the freaking second round. Jaden McDaniels, you jumped on his shoulders, and he carried you. Don't forget him. And they didn't. One more talk back, pause, more talk backs.
In one knee, two knees, or no knees, it doesn't matter. Anthony Edwards is big in the fourth quarter. Terrence Shannon Jr. with 99 speed, scoring at will. Minnesota Mike dialing the clock back, hitting that big three. And J-Mac showing these guards what's up on defense. What a win by the Wolves. My heart condition is in question, but man, that was fun to the very end.
Get that heart fixed.
I made so many mistakes at the end of the game. I'm disappointed in myself.
How can you be disappointed? We didn't even expect to see you out here tonight. How important was it for you to be available for your guys in game one?
For me, man, 75% of the game for me is my mind. My mind got to be where it needs to be. And in the last 2 minutes of the game, it wasn't. I gave up 2 offensive rebounds, turned the ball over. Yeah, I'll be better.
Wow, Anthony Edwards right after the 2-point victory at San Antonio last night. 75% of it for him is in his mind, is mental, as he just said. And, man, I can completely understand what he's saying because we've just watched him all of his career. And it's like if you're thinking about that knee and then the other knee, then you're not thinking about what goes into being one of the very greatest overall players in the NBA. And that means you miss shots and you lose your space on rebounds and you turn the ball over.
Yeah, wasn't that him on that inbound last night?
Yes.
Yeah, late?
Yeah. Yeah, Finchie needs to call a timeout there, and Pletty said what he said.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Timberwolves inbounds schemes and structure and plays are like super well respected around the league, man. I've heard some really good coaches comment on it over the years saying, boy, that inbounds play there with where they set the pick, that was really, really good. And he didn't take a timeout, but after the game, after he was pressed on it, he's like, yeah, I blew it. Chris has contrition. He doesn't have to have all of the right answers.
To the talkback machine on a Talker Tuesday. Let me see here.
Jake from Pine River here. Couple takes. Number one, holy buckets, it's hard to sit there and listen to how obsessed they are with Wemby. I mean, he made a layup and they're like, oh my God, did you see that? The guy's amazing.
He is amazing.
I mean, between the goaltends and the fouls, yeah, obviously he's a stud, but they forget that San Antonio has no playoff experience. Minnesota's been there, done that 2 years in a row.
Big time.
Let's go Wolves. Wolves in 6.
Cool talkback. It plays into a tweet here to my X feed. Stephen Miller, champion, captive serve via X. Can you please address the massive amount of goaltending that Wemby was getting away with last night? How do you address it? I mean, it's mistakes were made. I don't know how many mistakes were made, but multiple mistakes were made by bad officials. Yeah. I mean, we've said it. The two sports that I watch the most are the NFL and the NBA. My take doesn't mean it's right, but it's officiating in the NFL is the worst it has been overall in a quarter century since I've been following it closely. NBA ain't far behind. I mean, they just make a lot of mistakes, more mistakes than used to be made, and then you think about so you got the Scott Fosters of the world, the identifiable ones, go up to the microphone, talk about the challenges. For the most part, like the Whitecaps in the NFL or the lead refs, they're mostly okay. They get a little home plate umpire confrontational in coaches' faces for my liking. But the others, the 2 and the 3, I just don't know how they're getting to that level as quickly as they are. and why it's acceptable for so many mistakes to be made.
I was texting people last night during the game, though, people that have either played at a high level, know the game, and how is Wally Szczerbiak? It's not really a satisfying answer that I was getting, but there was contrition in the idea, they're still trying to figure out what this thing is.
Yeah, and props to Wemby and props to that staff for pushing the envelope and making them make the calls.
They're going to make them create a standard at some point.
Especially at home. I mean, because those goaltendings, like say there were 4, say there were 5. If it were at Target Center, there probably would have been 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's harder for these officials, these refs, to make those calls in a home game when it involves the uber star pushing the envelope and putting them in tough spots.
And still, by the way, as I asked Parker yesterday, how does he get out alive without more fouls?
I know. I was thinking about that during the game. He's so smart.
Terrifically.
Victor Wembanyama is so cerebral.
To the talkback machine. Oh, speaking of cerebral, how about Mike?
Hey.
Can we just have a moment for Mike Conley?
Yes, Covenant
The
class.
guy gets traded away, doesn't know if he'll ever be back here, comes back, sits on the bench for a long time,
Well done,
and then, what do you know, he's needed, and he's doing it for us.
Well done,
the
bud.
clutch 3 last night, and just the cool, calm collectedness of Mike Conley. Let's go.
It's the Conley calm that we discussed Friday with Chris Finch. He played 24 minutes last night, and when he's in the game, he generally has the ball as much, if not more, than anybody because he's a point guard. 0 turnovers. That's the Conley calm. You get 0 turnovers from him, and then 0 turnovers from the gifted and spry yet inexperienced rolling ball of butcher knives known as Terrence Shannon Jr. You're going to win a lot of games with that, man. But Mike Conley, man, that was terrific.
Talkback machine.
What's up, Nordo, PA, and good morning.
Good morning.
Great job by the Wolves last
Good
night.
morning.
I kind of never understood why we were such dogs when we got the experience, and they have no playoff equity. But that's neither here nor there. I do hope that the Wild were paying attention last night.
There we go.
Maybe get some inspiration. But most importantly, that they were watching closely for that goaltending clinic. And we're going to need it tonight.
Hey! I mean, that's as good a one-liner on the talkback machine as we've heard in the history of this talkback contraption.
Oh, I love that.
And as of now, I haven't looked at I looked at Twitter for a second. I can't believe there is a decision on Wally or Bus or Wally. Kevin Gorgon studio an hour from now. For what it's worth, I'm a fan of using Gustafson tonight. And
you were on the Gus bus.
And that still means Wally gets game 3 here Saturday. It's not bad to get a day off. It's not bad after you have some carry them to the winner's circle to you through 6 games against a team you don't beat often, specifically in the postseason, and you never leave the first round. And that's a mental and physical grind for Volstad.
Yeah.
Okay, so he got tattered the other night. I know there are 2 ways to look at it. Last thing you want to do, some would say, is let him sit and think about it and put him out there and, let him fight through it. That's great. He's fought through a lot to just get him to the second round. How about letting my man chill a little bit? Let my man chill. It's not like Gustafson is some boll weevil sitting on a stump bragging to a dog in heat rolling in here off a turnip truck. Seriously, my man knows how to play the game. I hope they use him tonight.
Well, I'm excited for 11 when Gorgie gets here because are you on the Gus bus or are you on the Wally trolley?
I was.
And the conversation, no boll weevil, love Gus, but he was giving up 4 or 5 a night for the last several weeks of the regular season. So
some boll weevil.
He's
boll weevil. I think I stole that from Beavis and Butthead.
I don't know what a boll weevil is.
It's some aggressive animal with nasty teeth. Might be a 25-year-old reference, or maybe I just made it up. But Bus is not some boll weevil sitting on a stump bragging to a dog in heat. I don't know where I got that from. All right, let's pause. More talkbacks later.
Yeah, we got a bunch of them.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And Ben Gessling Ben Gessling, Star Tribune, StarTribune.com. Weekly component, 9 to noon. He'll be here for a Steve's Appliances Marathon. After that, Roachy, Alan Roach, voice of Ball Arena and U.S. Bank Stadium, 35 minutes from now. This is 9 to noon.